when discussing the many Makaidas, the many sources in Maimorei Chazal, in Psukim, about the importance of looking forward to the Geula, and speaking about the many Gdolei Yisrael who always put a special emphasis on begging Hashem, on demanding the Geula. There are those who ask that seemingly, it says, there's a famous saying, there's a mimer that says, Ein ben David ba elo behes chadas. That Mashiach is only going to come, ben David, Mashiach is only going to come behes chadas, when we're not focused on Mashiach's coming. So, one of the ways of dealing with this question is, first of all, bringing the proper Mekayr, bringing the proper source, how it's brought in the source, in the Gemara. And number two, the proper way, how to make a conciliation between what it actually says in Chazal to what the sources say about looking forward, and mechake, achakale b'chol yom sheyavei, the halacha to that a person must look forward to the coming of the Geula. So, in the Gemara in Sanhedrin Daf Tzadik Zayin Amud Aleph, there are two members that could deal with this. One member is, the Gemara says, Ein ben David ba, and then says four things that Mashiach won't come until this happens. One of them is Achiyirbu HaMesayres, which means until there will be numerous informers, people who are being mastering on other Yidden. Davar Acher, Achiyismatu HaTalmidim, the Mashiach won't come until there will be very few Talmidim. Davar Acher, Achetichle Pruta Min HaKis, that Mashiach won't come until there will be no more money in the wallet, in the pocket, or in the bank. That until people will give up from the Geula, Mashiach won't come till then. So as far as this Maimer Chazal is concerned, that a person will say, well, let's give up on the Geula, then Mashiach will come. In other words, let's not look forward to it, let's give up on it. So the simple answer to that is that no one's going to say that there should be numerous informers amongst the Yidden in order that Mashiach should come, or that we should become penniless in order that Mashiach should come, or that people should stop being Talmidim in the yeshivas and in the kailalim in order that Mashiach should come. No one's going to say that. So likewise, these are things, there are many negative prophecies about the time before Mashiach's coming, not only over here in Sanhedrin, also in the last daf of Saita. There's many things that the Gemara says are going to happen before Mashiach comes, which are very negative, and some of them are actually mentioned over here in Sanhedrin as well. These are not things that we bring upon ourselves in order to hasten the coming of Mashiach. There's a lot of things we could do to hasten the coming of Mashiach, but we don't do the negative things in order to hasten the coming of Mashiach. Those are things we don't want to do. So there's no question that just like we won't bring upon ourselves the poverty and the miyut hatalmidim, etc., in order to bring Mashiach, we also shouldn't stop looking forward to the Geula in order that Mashiach should come. But then there's another Maimer Chazal over here on Tzadik Zayin Amud Aleph, where the Gemara says that it brings a story of Rabbi Zeira, and we'll speak about it in a moment. And then the Gemara says that Gimel, the Tanina Gimel Boyin Behesach Hadas. There are three things that happen Behesach Hadas when a person is not focused on it and waiting for it. And those three are Eluhain, these are Mashiach, Metzia, Ve'akrav. Which that means that Mashiach will come Behesach Hadas, and a person finds an object Behesach Hadas. The Pashtus is not talking about an object that he lost. It's just find something out of the blue, not something that he lost. Just find something. So that comes Behesach Hadas. And Akrav, a scorpion, bites Behesach Hadas when a person's not expecting it. So the Pashtus, the Pshat in the Gemara over here, is not that a person should be Mesiach Das in order that Mashiach should come. But like all of the cases over here in the Gemara, that these things happen when a person's not expecting it. In other words, they're a surprise for the person. Mashiach's going to come as a surprise. It's going to be a surprise when Mashiach comes. And a person finds something, it's a surprise when he finds something. And likewise with the Akrav. And therefore, it's not a contradiction. A person could look forward to the coming of Mashiach. A person could be eager about the coming of Mashiach. He can mekayim the halacha v'chakalei b'choyim sheyavayim b'chakel b'yasei, like it says in the Rambam, in Hilchos Melachim Perek Yud Aleph, that if he's not mechakel b'yasei, then he's lacking in the entire Amunah. And all the Gdolei Yisrael who focused so much and were yearning so much on the coming of the Geula, all these things are something that we should learn from. There's something that we should follow. These are things that we should try our best to fulfill. And as far as the Hes Chadas, the Gemara is telling us that it's going to be a surprise when it comes. As much as we're looking forward to it, it's going to be Behes Chadas, it's still going to be a surprise. And we could take an example from the Mitzia and the Akrav. If a person decides to start looking for something, not something that he lost, but he decides to start looking for something. He wants to find a Mitzia, he wants to find something that someone lost, a billfold of lots and lots of money, or whatever it might be. Even if he's looking for something, he could still find the Mitzia. No one's going to say that because he's consciously looking for something, he's not going to find the Mitzia. He's going to find it, but when he finds it, it's going to be a surprise. How did it happen that he found this thing? He didn't know that it was there, and he just decided to use his time to start looking for a Mitzia. So we see, a person could be consciously looking for something, and it's still considered a Mitzia, and it's still Behes Chadas, because it's still surprising, because he had no idea that it was there, and he would start looking for something, and 5 hours later, he came upon a Mitzia, something that somebody else lost, that he found. And likewise with the akrav, with the biting of the akrav. No one's going to say that if someone's looking around and conscious that there are akravim that might bite, that it's not going to bite, because it's not Behes Chadas. No one's going to say that that's pshat. Behes Chadas means that it could be he's looking around, but when the bite comes, chas v'shalom, if it does happen, it's going to be something which will be by surprise. He's going to be caught by surprise, even if he'd been conscientious, looking out for it and thinking about it, and not Behes Chadas, it still could happen, and it's still considered that if the bite comes, it's still going to be considered Behes Chadas. The reason is because Behes Chadas means that it's a surprise. As much as he's conscientious about it, he's going to be caught by surprise if and when it actually happens. It's interesting just to note the Marsha on this Gemara, that the Marsha says that the coming of Mashiach, Behes Chadas, there are two kinds of Hes Chadas that could happen with the coming of Mashiach. The Hes Chadas of Mashiach could be, if he's Zoiche, if Zocha, then it could be a Hes Chadas of Mitzia, that he found something, that he got something amazing, he got a Mitzia, he got something which is incredible. Or it could be a Hes Chadas, if Loi Zocha, it could be a Hes Chadas of Akrav, that Chas v'Shalom, if someone was not Zoiche, then the Hes Chadas of coming of Mashiach could be a Hes Chadas of something as negative as an Akrav. But what we have over here is that we don't budge from Lishuascha Kivinu Kol Hayoim. We are looking forward to the coming of Mashiach. The Gemara says that Gimel Dvarim, there are three things that come Behes Chadas. The meaning is that we're going to be surprised. As much as we look forward to it, the coming of Mashiach is going to be a complete surprise. It's a fact. It's not a direction. It's not a piece of guidance that we should be Behes Chadas about Mashiach in order that Mashiach should come, like we explained earlier. But rather, it's telling us a fact that as much as we daven for it, and as much as we look forward to the coming of the Geula, it's going to be considered a tremendous surprise, just like Hes Chadas.